Hello and welcome back to Football Daily, where this week we've constructed a team of the best Academy rejects. Let's go. Goalkeeper, Nick Pope. He may not be the most prominent name on this list, but it is still remarkable Nick Pope was released by Ipswich Town as a 16-year-old. In a recent interview with Sky Sports, the Burnley stopper opened up on his departure from the Tractor Boys, explaining how they didn't deem him good enough to warrant selection for their scholarship programme. Pope returned to college and took a job as a part-time milkman, before giving his football dream a second chance by joining Bury and then Charlton Athletic in 2011. Fast forward 9 years and the 28-year-old is one of the most coveted keepers in the Premier League, and was even part of an England squad that got agonisingly close to reaching their first World Cup final since 1966. At the time of writing, no goalkeeper in the English top flight, bar Alisson, has kept more clean sheets than Pope this season, while many are tipping him for a starting spot at next year's Euros. Meanwhile, Ipswich are languishing in League One, dreaming of former glories. Pope may have taken an unconventional route to the top, but he is here to stay. Defender, Andrew Robertson. Andrew Robertson is now widely considered one of, if not the best left-back in world football. However, that didn't stop him being released in his youth, with Scottish giants Celtic letting him go aged 15. Like a lot of professionals, Robertson was a late bloomer physically, and the boys considered him too small for them at the time. The Flying Scotsman was promptly snapped up by Glaswegian outfit Queen's Park, before building his status at Dundee United and Hull City. Even his move to Liverpool in 2017 didn't take off straight away, as 4 months into his first season as a Red, he had only made 2 appearances in the league. However, an injury to Alberto Moreno in December 2017 gave Robertson a consistent run in the side, and the rest is history. Today, the 26-year-old is a Champions League winner, and by the time this goes out, could be a Premier League champion too. In 145 top-flight appearances, he has kept 45 clean sheets and registered 27 assists, and has even been named Scotland captain. Fortunately for Celtic fans, Robertson recently made clear his desire to one day return to Parkhead, so his love affair with his boyhood club could have a happy ending after all. Before we move on to our next Academy reject, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss another Football Daily video. We put out content like this every single day, so you really don't want to miss out. Defender, Franco Baresi. In 1999, Franco Baresi was named AC Milan's Player of the Century. The Italian had spent his entire 20-year career with the Rossoneri, captaining the side for 15 seasons and accumulating 719 appearances before his retirement in 1997. But legendary status on its own doesn't do justice for a defender widely considered to be one of the best to ever play the game. Born in Lombardy, he always appeared destined to rule the San Siro. However, were it not for reluctant executives at Inter Milan, it could have been the Nerazzurri shirt he wore. Aged 14, Baresi was desperate to copy his older brother by joining Inter's academy, but after a trial he was told to come back a year later. Little did they realise AC Milan were lying in wait, and quickly offered the young defender the opportunity to play football. His decision not to wait for his brother's team was probably helped by the fact he grew up an AC fan, while both clubs were as prominent in the 70s as they are today. 5 years later, he made his debut in Serie A, commencing a stunning career that delivered 6 Scudetti, 4 European Cups, and even the 1982 World Cup. Defender, Javier Zanetti. Franco Baresi isn't the only San Siro legend to be rejected in their youth. Inter Milan hero Javier Zanetti suffered a similar setback in his homeland of Argentina. After developing his game in the suburbs of Buenos Aires between 1982 and 1989, he was part of the Independiente youth system, but was ultimately dropped aged 16 by the South American giants after they decided he didn't possess the necessary physicality. Rather than rush back into football, Zanetti spent the next 2 years studying and working odd jobs, before second division outfit Talleres RE gave him a chance. By 1995, the fullback had excelled in the Primera Division for fellow Buenos Aires side Banfield, and Inter Milan came calling. He became former owner Massimo Moratti's first ever signing. And what a signing he proved to be. Today, Zanetti is the Nerazzurri's director of football, while his 857 matches for the club makes him their all-time top appearance maker. He has won every domestic and European title worth claiming, and has broken countless other individual records. A truly stunning career from a player once deemed too small to kick a ball. Midfielder Franck Ribery. One of the most infamous examples of a player being released for being too small is former Bayern Munich star Franck Ribery. Lille missed a trick back in 1999 when they let go of a 16-year-old Ribery, citing behavioural issues as the reason behind their decision. While it is no secret the 9-time Bundesliga champion endured a difficult upbringing, in 2012 he countered Lille's depiction of events by claiming they dropped him over his size. Ribery went on to forge his career the hard way, spending the next 4 seasons in the lower divisions of French football with the likes of Boulogne and Brest. In 2004-05, he finally got his big break with Metz, scoring twice in 20 Ligue 1 appearances. Roll on 15 years and Ribery's star-studded career is still not finished. The 37-year-old is currently plying his trade in Italy with Fiorentina, having won everything with Bayern and even finishing third in the 2013 Ballon d'Or. His unconventional route to the top has only helped make him the extraordinary player he remains today, so perhaps his early rejection was a blessing in disguise. Midfielder Declan Rice. Eddie Nketiah, Ryan Brewster and Chris Metham are just a few of the players dropped from the Chelsea Academy before excelling at other clubs. But perhaps the one that will sting the most for Blues fans was getting rid of West Ham midfielder Declan Rice. The 21-year-old joined their youth ranks aged 7 and grew up alongside Tammy Abraham and his best friend Mason Mount. However, his dream of playing for Chelsea was shattered aged 14 when they decided to get rid of him for reasons he claims he doesn't even understand today. Fortunately, West Ham were on hand to offer him a second chance, and by 2017 he was a fully established member of their first team. This season he ranks second for both recoveries and tackles and interceptions from defensive midfielders in the Premier League, reinforcing why he has already accumulated 7 caps for England. His fine form has made him a wanted man, and his dream of lining up next to Mount on a regular basis could still come true, with Chelsea tracking his progress. But with a rumoured price tag in the region of £50 million, bringing Rice back to Stamford Bridge will come at a hefty cost. Midfielder Roy Keane. Today there are very few people who would defy Roy Keane, but back in his youth, a surprising number of teams said no to the Irish hardman. The Man United legend grew up in Cork in the southwest of Ireland, eventually signing with local side Rockmount aged 10. And despite being voted their player of the season in his first year, no side in England would give him a chance over fears about his size. By the age of 16 he was unemployed and tried again by writing to the likes of Derby County, Sheffield Wednesday, Chelsea, Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest. Brighton actually arranged a trial for him, only to pull out last minute, citing similar concerns over his physicality. In 1990 he eventually caught the eye of Forest while playing for local outfit Cobb Ramblers, and the 2-time European champions quickly atoned for their earlier misjudgment by signing him up. 16 years later, Keane had amassed 440 Premier League appearances, 7 Premier League titles and even a Champions League medal. Not to mention holding the joint record for being dismissed the most times in English football, having seen red 13 times. When you consider the struggles Keane faced to even become a professional, it's no surprise he developed the no-nonsense style he's famed for today. Midfielder Michel Platini. Before Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi dominated football, Michel Platini was the king of the Ballon d'Or, picking up 3 Golden Ball awards back in the 80s. Platini made a name for himself at Saint Etienne and then at Juventus, winning 1 French title before multiple Scudetti and even the 1984-85 European Cup while in Turin. But were it not for one of the most bizarre trials ever recorded, his career could have started out very differently. The former UEFA president came through the youth academy of his local side AS Gèvres, though his dream was to play for Metz. He finally got his opportunity aged 16, but injury ruined his first trial. However, things would go horribly wrong the second time around. Platini fainted during a breathing test, and the club doctor denounced the youngster as having a weak heart. Luckily for the teenager, AS Nancy were more forgiving, and quickly snapped him up to their youth project in 1972. 7 years later, he got a move to San Etienne, having lit up Division 1 with 77 goals in his final 4 seasons with Les Chardons. Weak heart or not, Platini remains one of the greatest players ever. Forward, Ronaldo. Ronaldo Nazario is one of the most graceful forwards to ever play the game, but even he faced rejection early in his career, though in the strangest of circumstances. The 2-time Ballon d'Or winner was born in Rio de Janeiro and grew up with the dream of replicating his childhood hero Zico by playing for Flamengo. A first trial with them went well enough that they invited him back for a second day, but disaster struck when he couldn't afford his bus fare. Quite remarkably, Flamengo refused to reschedule and turned him down. Ronaldo continued to destroy goal-scoring record in his local futsal league, and aged 14 was eventually spotted by former World Cup winner Jairzinho, who signed him up to Rio Minno's São Cristóvão in 1990. 4 years later, and following a prolific spell with Cruzeiro, he was snapped up by Dutch side PSV, and the rest is history. São Cristóvão still proudly hangs a sign that announces the phenomenon was born here, while Flamengo have been left to rue the fact they let something as fickle as a bus fare cloud their judgment. Forward, Harry Kane. Arsenal have got it wrong over a number of youth players over the years, most notably Cristiano Ronaldo and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. But perhaps the one that will sting the most is letting go of Tottenham legend Harry Kane. The England captain was part of the Gunners' youth setup between 2001 and 2002, and was infamously snapped in an Arsenal kit during their Invincibles era, leading many to believe Kane was a Red growing up. However, aged 9, he was released after Arsenal Academy boss Liam Brady considered him too chubby and not very athletic. Even Tottenham originally rejected him, only offering him a place in their youth setup back in 2004 after he impressed in a game against them for Watford. Today he is one of the most recognisable players on the planet, having banged in 137 Premier League goals in under 200 appearances, and winning the Golden Boot at the 2018 World Cup. In 2015, Arsene Wenger himself expressed annoyance that Arsenal had rejected the young forward. To add insult to injury, no player has scored more goals in the North London derby than Kane, showing what a nemesis to the Gunners he has really become. Forward, Kylian Mbappe. It seems unimaginable that anyone would reject French sensation Kylian Mbappe, but that's exactly what Chelsea did back in 2012. The forward arrived in West London for a trial aged 13, having been plucked from the suburbs of Paris where he was spotted playing for lowly outfit Bondy. He immediately lived up to his hype, performing well in a 7-0 win over Charlton Athletic and displaying early signs of his incredible skill in a week-long stay. But unbelievably, the Blues still weren't convinced. Unhappy with his defensive work rate, they asked him to return for a second-week trial, something Mbappe's mum did not take kindly to. She reportedly told the scout who discovered Mbappe that Chelsea had to buy him then, or risk having to pay €50 million for him in 5 years' time. The Blues ultimately stumped for Dominic Solanke instead, while Mbappe would go on to join PSG from Monaco for a mega €180 million in 2018. The World Cup winner now looks set to be the face of football for many years to come. But the fact that Kylian Mbappe was the one that got away will be a bitter pill to swallow for Chelsea fans. So that was our 11 of Academy rejects, but what did you make of it? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, why not click on screen right now and subscribe to Football Daily if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.